they weren't really getting a lot of traffic through their space, so they weren't getting a lot of advertising bang for their buck, I guess. And that's because the immersive space, it's a little different. It isn't, you can't really treat it like a normal sort of billboard kind of a thing, although you will find that. But the advantages that are possible in an immersive space, I mean, so much more can be done. Instead of building a little brick schoolhouse like a lot of schools did originally, you tend to model what you know. So if you know you're a teacher, you've got a little schoolhouse, you've got rows of desks, one of the first inclinations is you go into an immersive environment and you rebuild that almost identically the way that it is in real life. And then you sort of realize after a while that, okay, now I'm sitting in a virtual desk, in a virtual little building. What's the advantage really? Why do I have my kids meeting in this little virtual schoolhouse, and I'm a virtual teacher at a virtual chalkboard? You start to realize that very quickly, that's probably not the best use of a virtual environment. So you start to explore other things, and I mean, fairly quickly people did realize that there's so much more that can be done in a virtual space. So you start to explore creating, interactive environments, doing something with what's there. Boy, it takes 3 clicks. It's interesting. But this is just a little information sort of display that was done in an open simulator environment. This is with I think, mostly grade 6 and 7 students. They were studying the circulatory system. So what we did is we just grabbed some great big images of the circulatory system and put one flat and put one up in the air, so you can walk on it, you can sort of see, you can label things, and then you can start to script little pop-ups. So instead of a little window popping up that sort of describes the heart, you can have like a whole slideshow. You can have a video that pops up while you're standing there that says, here's the heart. And you could have a 3D model pop up and actually see what the heart looks like and how it functions. So there's so much more that can be done in a 3D immersive environment if you take the time to sort of explore what those possibilities are. And kids are really good at doing this. Once you got them in there, I mean, that's probably why I continued exploring, is because I saw that students didn't have as difficult a time sometimes with the environment. They figured out the controls pretty quickly. They're already there. They're sort of in that space already. But the more I stayed with it, the more I started to see adults using the space as well. This is, I think, an OpenGov group that was using a 3D immersive space to sort of do a whole bunch of preparation for emergency preparedness sort of scenarios. I only got a little clip of this space, but that's a video in the background again. It's basically a series of different sort of informational videos that are linked directly to either hurricane preparation or tornado. What do you do if you're in a tornado zone? What do you do if there's fire in your area, or if there's a medical emergency of some kind? What should you have in your emergency kit? So it's all sort of described in a variety of different media. Right? It can be a video, it can be a website, it can be objects that you interact with. There's just lots of different things that you can actually do when you're in the space that don't have to be static. They can be real, they can be video, they can be just about any type of media that you can imagine. And this is what, again, this group of students that I started working with, we developed a little bit of stuff on our, sort of to get them started and get them going. Then in 3 months, they turned this flat piece of bare land. Basically, there was nothing here when they started. But they built a whole course about digital citizenship around this immersive sort of environment. There's little walkthroughs as you go through. There's different things about digital rights and Creative Commons and copyright law and that kind of thing. There's little role-play scenarios where the students sort of act like internet predators sort of thing, and the other students role-play, well, what do I do? How do I report this? What's the safe thing to do? And this group of grade 8 students was actually building this whole space for a group of grade 4 students, I think, to sort of bring them in and walk them through this environment and teach them how to become responsible digital citizens in this sort of 21st century. And they were using an immersive environment to carry that out. And then even more interesting is if you hang around, even if you just sort of hang around the fringes of some of the groups that are in either, you might start with something like Second Life because it's very popular. But there are a lot of other sort of open simulator worlds that are starting up now that you can sort of become a member of. You get a free account, you go in and you sort of look around, you find maybe a niche spot, but then you can start to get involved in some of the things. Like this is actually a 1939 New York World's Fair recreation. They want to recreate basically the whole build. So they're doing it all in sort of an immersive environment where, as much as possible, like they've been doing research for about 3 years. This one gentleman started this. It's sort of his retirement project. But he's gathered all the information, all of the different pictures and textures and everything, and then they just opened it up and said, you know, can we have some help? Just come and help us build this. And that, I found that to be almost just as, you know, as interesting a task as sort of working with other people on an actual build site, doing all of this kind of thing. I mean, you learn a lot, but you also sort of get a chance to see just how, again, this whole interactive, rich space becomes more than just, it's not just a museum, it's, I mean, there is galleries in here of art, there are museum-like displays, but I don't know, just being part of the building of it was just something that you don't normally get a chance to do. But inside this immersive environment, you did get that chance to interact with others and, you know, share your talents and become part of something that's just a little bit bigger. Which kind of crosses over into use case number 3, which I think I see as probably one most enterprise people would be interested in, and probably the one that most people are maybe thinking about using an immersive environment for. And it definitely is the one where most of the industrial sort of focus is, or the enterprise focus, I guess, from vendor side. People that want to get into this immersive space as a vendor or solution provider seem to be starting in this, sort of building a 3D immersive environment to use as a collaborative space, or to host meetings, team meetings, or sometimes in some cases a little bit broader than that. You can go from anywhere, a few people meeting to the size of this room, you can get together fairly quickly, to mini conferences where you might actually have 15 or 20 different little sites that each are hosting little presentations like this, but in an immersive environment. So you're not traveling, you're not flying anywhere, you're not really, you're not using resources in that way. And it's a different type of experience, and in some ways, I found that some of those conference-like experiences in an immersive environment were almost better than attending conferences in real-life, face-to-face situations. And I'll
ask why.
Oh,
what was better?
Exactly. I'm going to get to that in a second. No, it was quite amazing.